Welcome back to Kanika's Corner, and this is another motherhood based video. This is sort of the beginning of motherhood, when a pregnancy starts, and I'm really thrilled to say that I have completed month 4 of my second pregnancy, and these are all my learnings from what happens in the first trimester. So we call our little babies by various names, but technically they are known as an embryo until week 14, and then after that it's known as a fetus. So I would say my first learning about all of this was to have a gynecologist chosen, so that even the start of the process is that much easier. If you are planning to conceive, it's nice to go to the gynecologist and understand what precautions you need to take, or you need to go on folic acid tablets. They're there to guide us. And of course, to go back with the blood test results, the beta HCG results, it's good to have that one person chosen. So, when you're in that moment of, is my test positive, is it negative? It's nice to know who to go to and get that answer. Morning sickness can be brutal in some women. In some women, it's just about present, and in others, they don't have it at all. So my mom was one of those who didn't have morning sickness, and I was really hopeful that I wouldn't either. But come the start of week 4, and morning sickness started. Here I thought, the first pregnancy was difficult because of the amount of nausea and yawning that I had. But turns out that morning sickness in pregnancy number 2 was even worse. There was a lot of nausea, there was a lot of sour eructations, and a whole lot of tiredness. And I've got to say, dealing with a toddler and an early pregnancy was a completely different experience, because I had a toddler who was very clear that she wanted my attention all the time, that I couldn't lie down. There was no question of me sitting still for a moment, and when nausea hits you hard, all you want to do is not move. And here I had this little one pulling me everywhere. So I'm very grateful that I had enough family support who would take care of her and give me the space to take care of my morning sickness. One of my main symptoms this second time has been tiredness. It would hit me like a ton of bricks, and I would reach these stages where I would feel really cranky and tired, and then trying to deal with my fussy toddler made the situation even worse. So at that point, I would, get my family to come and help out. And even if I took a short, say 20 minutes, half an hour nap, I was so much the better for it. So my biggest learning from that is nap whenever you can. And if your body is asking for rest, just take it, because there's this whole new being that your body is forming. And more importantly, in the first trimester, your placenta is being formed, and that takes out a whole lot of energy from you. So for those first 10-12 weeks, you may be extra tired, and there may be this thought in your mind that, is the rest of the pregnancy going to be like this? How do I manage? I had that question. How do I manage a toddler and a house and take care of everything if I was going to be so tired all the time? But you know what? The magic number 12 came in. We finished the first trimester, and I'm not as tired anymore. So it's just one of the symptoms that you can have in a first trimester. One of my biggest challenges in the first trimester was eating. The nausea can hit you at all times, but also you can have food aversions, and that was a big problem for me. I just didn't want to eat anything. Everything looked unappetizing. So don't worry about the amount of nutrition that you have in the first trimester. And that was something that my mother as a gynecologist kept telling me. Her motto was simple: eat what you can, eat whenever you can. And so my staple through the first 3 months were dry chapatis with whatever dry sabzi was available, grapes, and they had to be cold, so they had to come out of the fridge and into my mouth, and Delhi carrots, not regular carrots. So I had 4 groups that I would eat, and that's it. There was absolutely nothing else that I could touch. Of course, I lost a little weight through that, and a lot of women do, lose weight in the first trimester. But don't worry about the nutrition at this point. It is more important that you just survive through that first trimester, and as you cross that 3-month, 4-month mark, you are able to eat a lot better. So in the first pregnancy, I decided to document my morning sickness, I was very curious about how it looks and what it would look like when I look back, and I'm really glad I did that, because there were days when I was feeling really awful and horrible, and I was able to look at my Excel sheet and see, hey, the 2-3 days ahead of that I had actually felt better. So there are better days that will come in, and that was a good thing of the Excel sheet. So I had grand plans of keeping an Excel sheet during the second pregnancy also. You know what happens to grand plans, right? This time it was tiredness that became the obstacle. Every night that I would sort of, even in my phone, I'd want to put it in, I was like, forget it, leave it. So the first trimester is over and I have no Excel sheet to show for it. But an interesting thing that I've decided to do for the second pregnancy is to document my BMI and look at how my body is doing and what all it is up to. A very interesting thing that I discovered when I lost the 2-3 kgs of weight in the first trimester, the BMI charts showed me that what I had actually lost was nutrients and water. I hadn't lost any fat, I hadn't lost any muscle. So this is what the charts look like. So much that we can learn. So I'm really looking forward to what my charts will look like in the coming months. Both times I waited for the completion of the first trimester before telling everyone. A few select people, both in my workplace and at home, knew about it because then they're there to help with the morning sickness and fatigue. But I would say, when you announce it is absolutely up to you. For me, I was very comfortable waiting for that 12-week scan, waiting to know that, the baby is doing well, and then we happily went around telling people about it. One of the funny realities of pregnancy is that my memory has felt like a sieve. Things go in, most everything just comes out. There will be a list of tasks that I think about, and by the time I even get down to task 1, task 2 is forgotten. And it's not an excuse, but when people say, did you do this? I'm like, oh no, I forgot about it. And then I'll be like, pregnancy is the reason I've forgotten, not because my memory is poor, okay? So I'm looking forward to my memory coming back to its usual self once the baby is born. I tried and walked about half an hour every day because sunlight and fresh air are really good for us. But it can be a challenge when, morning sickness is at its peak and any kind of motion can, make things worse. So my aim was just to get a little bit of exercise every day, and it's something that is really good for all of us. One of the worst things about a pregnancy is that our bladder control can, it's short. So doing Kegels exercises even from the first trimester is something that's very helpful. And what I did was made it part of my routine. And every time I go to pee, I just take a few seconds to do the Kegels exercises and the job is done. So other than, our morning sickness, there's no physical sign that we are pregnant. So what I like to do is actually visualize the bump and, see how it will be as it grows over the next few months. With the second pregnancy, it's far easier because I do have an idea of what I may look like. And so I go back to pictures of mine from the first pregnancy, visualize it, and it just feels so happy and nice to, know that I'm going to look like that in a few months. One of the things that I love to do is talk to my little baby, and I'll have a few chats every day, including my grandmother will send her good night wishes and give her a message every night. And while some people may think I'm bonkers to do that, I think that gives really a positive energy to our growing little baby, and it's something that I love to do the first time, and I'm enjoying doing it the second time also. So as I'm entering the second trimester, one of the things I miss the most about the first trimester is that I could sleep on my stomach. That's not something we can do as the baby grows bigger. So make the most of it. Sleep on your stomach as much as you want, because come month 4 you'll be sleeping on your side. So having gone through a pregnancy before, I was a little prepared for what it would be like. But I've got to tell you, this time has been a completely different experience, because having a baby in tow and helping take care of all of her needs has meant that pregnancy number 2 has so far been very different from pregnancy number 1. What have your experiences been like through your pregnancies? Do let me know in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe.